Okay, everybody, here we go. It's me, Gregory Mannarino, Monday, November 13th, 2023. This is my pre-market report as we sit here on the eve of a new day. And, who knows what else they have in store for us? I guess we do. Ain't going to be pretty. Let's start off with what happened here over the weekend. On Friday, just by coincidence, of course, after the market closed, we get a U.S. debt downgrade to negative by Moody's. Okay, lovely and fantastic. What else happens here? More U.S. airstrikes on Syria. Now, despite these two events, the market isn't doing too much of anything right now. Trading didn't start for about an hour and a half. There's almost no reaction. It's kind of interesting. What we have going on here is the 10-year yield, which is stable from Friday prior to the U.S. debt downgrade. That's interesting. And with these new airstrikes, U.S. airstrikes in Syria, there was a slight knee-jerk reaction into debt, which has seemed to have calmed down a little bit here. So we're about where we were on Friday. It looks to me that this market is going to shrug it off. Shrug off the debt downgrade. Shrug off these new air attacks. Now, crude oil is catching a bid this morning, but nothing major. I believe what we're seeing here, and I covered this in my Markets A Look Ahead yesterday. Crude oil appears to be bottoming out. Now, let me say this as well. How many of you believe, let's just take a little poll here, okay? Let's have a little fun, that these latest U.S. airstrikes in Syria are the last ones? How about no? Let me put this together for you just real quick. If you pay attention to the propaganda from the mainstream, it's all the same. Every media outlet is given the same script. And they keep saying, Iranian backed, Iranian backed, Iranian backed, Iranian backed. They're drilling this into your head, as they always do, trying to get you to believe a particular narrative. You understand? I think you do. So, in my opinion, and we've covered this as of late, this is a build-up here. It's a slow, steady build-up to a direct U.S. attack on Iran. That's the real goal here. Now, understanding that, you got to be in crude here. You have to be invested in commodities. You all know that. In my opinion, there is no way that they can keep crude where it is, especially with this war that's going to expand. There is going to be a U.S. airstrike, probably multiple, on Iranian targets in Iran. That is the goal. That's what they want here. If they could prop up crude oil, and they're going to via this mechanism here, understanding that the Federal Reserve is already in here. And I don't care what's coming out of their mouths about raising rates. No, the Fed is, I'm going to say they're done here. Their probability that they're going to raise rates anytime soon is very, very low. Is it possible? Yes. It's very, very low. They already got the consumer by the throat. The consumer's done. Okay, the economy is done. They're looking for another mechanism here to institute some kind of, this is where I think we're eventually going. Okay, here to some type of a general or a universal kind of income. Because look, we're watching this current system be dismantled. We already understand that the Federal Reserve wants to be the lender and buyer of last resort. If they're creating slaves to the current system, they're destroying the economy. What better way, again, via the mechanism of war, as a scapegoat as to why the economy is cratering, okay, which it's been cratering, but this is going to accelerate, obviously, moving forward. And let me say this, too. With this U.S. debt downgrade, do you think that our politicians are going to use any restraint here, or are they going to continue to spend and spend and spend at the behest of the Federal Reserve or central banks around the world? No, they're not going to cut any kind of spending here. So just forget that. In fact, spending is going to be increased moving forward as they transition from what was at one point a representative democracy to some type of a yet-to-be-defined system, communism, fascism, a combination of the two things, socialism. This is what they're doing. This is where we're moving towards. And again, this would fulfill the Federal Reserve's endgame as well. The Federal Reserve would want nothing more than to issue some kind of a universal income, because that would create absolute slavery to their system. You understand? I think you got it. This is where we're going. It should make sense to you. I mean, bells and whistles should kind of be going off in your head right now, because you can see the writing on the wall as to where this is going to go. And there's just no doubt in my mind that's where they want it, where the system is being pushed to. People are willingly going to accept the new system, especially if they hear that they're going to be receiving some kind of universal income or general income from the government, which of course is the Federal Reserve, who controls the money. You understand? The government doesn't control the money. It's the Federal Reserve, who's not federal and has no reserve. You understand? They have to create this out of nothing. Of course, what's going to happen here as well, I want you to think about this. So I eventually believe we're going to some type of a universal income. No doubt about it, because it would help fulfill the end game of the central banks and our politicians here too. Okay, that's what they want to do, because they don't work for us. They work for the central banks. They're going to sell this to you as if they're working for you, but no, they're working for the central bank. So what's going to end up happening here is we're going to see prices rise even much, much higher, of course. Inflation has nowhere to go but much higher from here. Again, the funding for this war, the funding for that war, the groundwork that has already been laid here by this resolution that was passed by the House to use all means necessary to prevent Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. You know all this already. It's all adding up. And, you don't, if it walks like a duck and it looks like a duck, it's a freaking duck here, quite obviously. And I think we're pretty much on the same page. With regard to the market, again, I told you, like a muted response. Stock futures are lower right now, not by much. The 10-year yield, stable from Friday. The U.S. dollar is slightly lower. It's just so interesting to see, even with this debt downgrade. Okay, that's that. You got gold slightly higher, silver under some pressure, crude, as I said, catching a bid, not much. Cryptocurrencies under some pressure right now. That's kind of where we stand with this market. But it looks to me, again, like the market's going to shrug this all off. The market realizes that whatever came out of the mouth, or is coming out of the mouth, with regard to the Federal Reserve about monetary policy not being restrictive enough, it's nonsense. It's nonsense. And the market knows that. The initial knee-jerk, if you recall, was a sell-off, which rebounded the next day and then some, because the market, is calling the bluff. It's a bluff here. The Fed's already got the people where they want it, and the Fed is going to fuel the market because, again, the illusion of the market, especially with expanding war, especially with this debt downgrade, must be maintained. The illusion of the market, I can't tell you how powerful it is. All right, people see the market going up, they think everything's fine. There's no connection, and you know this, between the economy and the market, which is beyond, someplace way far beyond the sun in La La Land. You understand what I'm talking about? I think all of you do. So what's the takeaway from this particular video here? Expect much higher inflation. Expect a universal type of income coming down the pike here at one point. Expect, as we have outlined here for 10 years, a whole new set of rules, a new paradigm, a whole new thing, and a lot less people on this planet. That's the truth, okay? They're already killing us in every manner that they possibly can, and things you can't even expect are coming. There's just no doubt about it. So just be prepared, be ready for anything, always have the high ground. At least from a financial standpoint, gauging, unless you don't agree with me here, do you not agree that there's going to be more U.S. airstrikes in the Middle East, more involvement in more countries, more death, more pain, more suffering, more calls for more funding for this, that, and the other thing with regard to war? We can't fund our own government. We cannot do that. You know that. We're facing another government shutdown. But we have all the money for war, expanding war, it's all there, and then some. And if you're looking for anything different, if you remember what came out of the mouth of President Trump, for every drop of U.S. blood that's spilled, we're going to spill a gallon of theirs. So if in fact Trump wins the White House, again wins if he's chosen, okay, I think obviously, we know where this is going here. Of course, there's going to be a false flag. American lives are going to be lost. and that means a lot more war, a lot more pain, a lot more death. The U.S. military has not been armed to the teeth, under Trump, by the way, for nothing, just because we think it's fun and because it will be used as a deterrent. No, the U.S. was armed to the teeth so its military can be utilized for exactly what we're seeing now and for a much wider and much more deadly conflict moving forward. It should be pretty obvious to everyone here that's watching this here. All right, look, this guy here loves you a lot. I hope you got something out of this video. It's been important. A lot of stuff here. I want to hear from you. What do you think about the concepts I've covered here? Do you agree? Do you not agree? You're allowed to disagree with me, and I welcome that. I would love to read your comments, and I will. So anyway, like I said, let me know what your thoughts are on all this. Is this making sense? Is it adding up the way that we've covered over the past, I don't know how freaking long? It's in our face, people, in my view. But again, let's see what you have to say about it. Please share the video, get it out there. Those thumbs up are valuable. I will see you later. 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time for the live stream. Let's get this together. Let's get more people, please, involved in that live stream. I really enjoy it. I love interacting with all of you, and I want to hear some questions from you too, all right? I'll see you later.